You can't say simply that, okay, it's a nice country, I would like to come here and to live here because it's a nicer life. This is not a human right to come here. No way, because it's our land. It's a nation, it's a community, families, history, tradition, language.
Saying what you just said, which I think will seem obvious to a lot of our viewers, was very offensive to a lot of countries in Western Europe, to their leaders.
Yeah, because many European countries decided to open a new chapter of their own history of the nation. They call it New Society, which is post-Christian, post-national societies. They believe firmly that if different communities, even huge number of, let's say, Muslim communities, and the original inhabitant, let's say, Christian communities are mixed up, the outcome of this will be good. There is no answer whether it will be good or bad, but I think it's very risky. And the chance that it will be not good, but it will be very bad, is obvious. And each nation has the right to take this risk or to reject this risk. We Hungarians decided not to take that risk, to mix up our society. That's the reason why they attack Hungary so harshly, and that's the reason why my personal reputation is very bad. You know, I'm treated like the black sheep of the European Union personally, and sometimes Hungary as well, unfortunately.
So it has been 6 years since Germany, since Angela Merkel made the decision to let many hundreds of thousands of migrants into her country.
Millions, basically.
Millions, non-German speakers, mostly Muslim. What have the effects been in Germany?
You know, diplomacy is
requires
some well behavior, but it was their decision. They took the risk, and now they got what they have deserved. That's their life. I would not like to make any categories to describe what was the outcome of their decision. I only insist on that the Hungarians has the right to make our own choice.
You first became famous in the late 80s as a student, as one of the leaders against Soviet occupation of Hungary, and you were a hero to many in the United States, and at the time, during the Cold War, we paid close attention to Hungary. I think the US government was on your side, you were on the side of the US government. So 30 years later, Joe Biden, while running for president last year on ABC News, suggested that you were, and I'm quoting, a totalitarian thug.
You see what's happening in everything from Belarus to Poland to Hungary, and the rise of totalitarian regimes in the world, and as well as this president embraces all the thugs in the world.
Is that bewildering for you to see the change, and how do you respond to that characterization?
So first of all, the reaction of that kind of opinion here in Hungary is always not very polite, but we think, who is that guy to say that? Then we say, okay, he is the president of the United States, so we should take it seriously. But anyway, somebody who does not speak our language, has a very limited knowledge on Hungary, even in the recent several decades of our life, don't understanding us obviously. Having an opinion like that, you know, it's by itself, it's a personal insult for all the Hungarians. But because he is the president of the United States, we have to be very modest. We have to be very respectful, and we have to make a lot of things to clarify that what he is doing is rather a fake. We try to do that in a polite way because we respect the Americans. We respect the American democracy, American culture. So we would not like to destroy our relationship because the bilateral relationship with the Americans is basically very good. We are cooperating well on the field of defense as NATO allies. Economic cooperation is excellent. You are a big investor here. Trade is going very well. Your businessman is finding a lot of possibilities here. So everything is fine, except the politics when the liberals are in government in Washington. That's the problem. So we have to manage that because the American-Hungarian good relationship is a value, even if the Americans don't perceive today it as it was previously. So we have to save what we can save out of it.
But it's a little strange. I don't think Joe Biden has ever referred to Xi Jinping, for example, who has murdered many of his political opponents famously, as a totalitarian thug. Why would he single you out? And not just you, by the way, the Polish government as well.
The problem is the success. So it's a real challenge for the liberal thinkers that what is going on in Central Europe, Poland and in Hungary as well, in Hungary more outspoken probably. We are speaking probably too much anyway on our intentions. So what is going on here is building up a society which is very successful economically, politically, culturally, even in demography, we have some success, family policy. So what you can see here could be described as a success story. But the fundamentals of this success are totally different than it is wished and run and created by many other Western countries. So the Western liberals cannot accept that inside the Western civilization there is a conservative national alternative which is more successful at the everyday life, at the level of than the liberal ones. That's the reason why they criticize us. They are fighting for themselves, not against us. But we are an example that somebody or a country which is based on traditional values, on national identity, based on tradition of Christianity, could be successful or sometimes even more successful than a leftist liberal government. Actually, the behavior in America is totally new experience for me.
It does seem like Hungary is moving in a completely different direction from the rest of the continent, from the rest of the Western world. I mean, do you think that 20 years from now, that will be an unbridgeable divide? I mean, where does that lead?
Let's describe how I see it. What I see that in the Central European countries, the countries suffered the most because of the Soviet occupation and communist dictatorship. So in these countries, my approach, or the Hungarian approach, is very popular. Probably we have a majority in all of that societies. Not only in Poland and Hungary. They are more moderate. I mean, the others are more moderate. But if you understand what they are doing, what are the fundamentals and their motivations, is basically belonging to the same political family anyway.
Yes.
On the Western society, there is a lot of people, millions and millions of people, who disagree the direction of the policy taken at this moment, which is against the family or not respecting the families, which is more based on migration, which is more open society, which is more welfare, and so on and so on. So I don't say that the political competition is over in the Western European societies. So I see chances, and the key country is Italy at this moment, where the fight and the competition is very open. So I can see chances in the Western countries also that they are able to change their policy from liberal to conservative, or from liberal leftist to Christian Democrats. The chance is there, but we are not internationally well organized. So the forthcoming years are really exciting.